Okay, let's wrap up the main toolbar and take a look at these last few buttons. Now, this starts off with the Build Geometry for Current Level button. And this is really all about just recalculating any BSP geometry that you've put in place. So for instance, here's my red builder brush. I'm going to come over to the toolbox on the left-hand side of the screen, and about halfway down you'll see the CSG Add button on the left side. I'm going to click that. Now, let me also switch my perspective viewport over into unlit mode so that we can see the result, and I'll get my red builder brush nice and out of the way. So here we can see the solid geometry formed from an additive brush, but here's the cool thing. If I take this additive brush and I move it, notice that the solid geometry doesn't actually update. In order to get this to update, I simply need to rebuild my geometry, which is where this Build Geometry for Current Level button comes in. I click that. Recalculates. It also checks the map for any errors, which for the time being we can ignore, but we can see that the solid geometry now lines back up with our additive brush. Very, very straightforward. Now next to this we have Build Lighting. Currently this won't do me any good because I don't have any lights in the scene. So I'm going to do a couple of things. Let's take this brush and I'm going to nuke it. Just hit delete and make it go away. Now, the red builder brush. Let's make this a little bigger. In the toolbox on the left-hand side, kind of near the top, we have the cube button. Go ahead and right-click on that, and inside the Brush Builder Cube settings, we're going to punch in 1024 for X, 1024 for Y, and 32 for Z, just to kind of build a great big platform. Now, once again, I'm going to click the CSG Add button, which adds a nice platform that we could potentially run around on. Now, I'm going to hold down the L key and left-click right here in the middle of this platform, which creates a light. Currently, we don't really see the result of that, though, until we switch our viewport over to lit mode, and then we can lift our light up into the air with the translation widget. Now, this lighting has not yet been baked into the surfaces of our level, meaning that if we tried to right-click here on the surface and choose play from here, we just get a black scene. Nothing's actually going on here. I can shoot and see a little bit of light, but outside of that, there is nothing. We need to calculate our lighting by clicking the Build Lighting button. This will give us an options window which will allow us to choose what we want to build for. Do we want to build on the BSP, any static meshes? We can also build only on selected objects, which is very handy, or just for the current level, or build only for levels selected in the level browser. We can choose the overall quality from preview all the way up to production quality. We can choose to use light mask, which of course we're going to leave on, and we can use error coloring. So if there's any sort of errors, these will actually be color coded. Now, let's just go ahead and click OK real quick. This will take just a minute. We will get an error because we're not using a light mask importance volume, which light mask is kind of expecting. But overall, that was really fast, so we'll close that out. Now if I right-click here on the floor and choose play from here, we can actually see the floor because that lighting has been calculated. Any changes that I was to make to this light, if I moved the light, if I changed its color, or if I moved any of the static objects influencing the light. For instance, if I had a static mesh here that was casting a shadow, if I was to move that static mesh, that changes the result of the lighting. In those cases, I would need to recalculate my lighting, so do keep that sort of stuff in mind. Now next we have Build Paths. This will allow us to recalculate any AI navigation systems, such as bot paths or any pylons and navigation meshes that have been placed in our level. We can build cover nodes. Now, if you've played the game Gears of War, and hopefully you have, then you saw the result of the cover node system. It's what allows players and AI bots to know where they can take cover behind certain objects, and those are all linked in their own little navigation network, so you can rebuild those as well. Now, moving on, we have the Build All button. This will build our geometry, it'll build our lighting, and build any AI paths all in one go, so you don't have to choose which one to build. Now, honestly, this is the one I use more often than not. Next, we can choose our lighting quality settings. Now, if you left-click on this, you're cycling through your different levels, with the little I being preview quality, then there's a little letter M for medium, then high, then production. If you right-click on this, you can choose in a drop-down style which one you want to use. I'd recommend staying on preview for as long as you can. Now, next we have full screen mode. If you click on this, UDK will take up every spare pixel it can on your monitor. It'll get rid of the little Windows bar up at the very top, and if you have a start bar visible, which I do, it's just outside the capture region, then that would go away as well. Now, our last two buttons are Start This Level on the PC and play this level in the editor. Now what I'm going to do is go to File, Open, and let's open up VCTF Sandstorm. I'm going to show these two off, but I'm going to start with the one on the very end. So we'll start off with play this level in the editor. I'm just going to click here. Now, clicking these, as she gets done talking, clicking these does require that you have a player start in your level. So if you haven't right-clicked, gone down to Add Actor, and chose a player start, you won't actually be able to use these. But I am playing around inside the editor. I can run all the way through the game. But here's the thing. If I press F1, you'll notice that I'm the only player here. I'm all by myself. So finally, we have found a version of Capture the Flag that I can win. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit Escape and jump out of the in-editor game. If we click on Start this level on the PC, we're going to get a little save window, and I don't want to save any of this, so no to all. And what this will do is this will actually launch the game in a completely separate individual instance of Unreal Engine 3. You get the little Unreal Technology window, and this is the full game. So we're actually ready to go here. As soon as this gets done loading up, we can click, press fire to start. This is just like playing UT3. 3, 2, 1, play. And now I'm running around. And if I hit F1, there are other bots in here with me. So they're already duking it out down here. They're getting in vehicles. They're shooting at me, and they're killing me already because that's how good I am at this game. So now if we hit Escape, you'll see there's our score, and we can just click Exit Game and get out of there. So if you really want to see how the overall game is playing with all the bells and whistles, then just load up Play on the PC. So that is a look at the remaining buttons of our main toolbar. That wraps up our discussion of the main toolbar's functionality and wraps up this video. Thanks a lot.